And we are live. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Drone Talk. It's your boy Tyler, and today, and today I have with me LP Larry Higgins, Niobe Comics. How are you doing, man?
Good, brother. What's going on, man?
Well, I feel bad for those who were waiting a little late because I had to feed my kid and put him to sleep because my wife is out tonight. I got to be a parent first, you know.
I hear you, brother. Listen, it was okay because while I was waiting with you, I went on Indie Vault TV. You ever watch those guys?
No, I haven't.
No, so they're a good show. They're on Facebook and YouTube. It's a guy named Varian Grant and Randy Zimmerman, who's been in comic books for a long time. And anyway, they were having like an open mic night, right? So I went on there with Pixel Trader for a little bit to talk about Niobe and Indie and just kind of sat in on their conversation until I got the ding, and I'm like, okay, boys, gotta go. Tyler calls.
Awesome. Well, hey, is it cool? I'll have to go check that show out.
No, for
Um,
sure.
so real quick, I want to shout out those who are in the chat. We've got Arno Lopez in the house. He has so many I can't even read them, but I'm just gonna go Ferk Gang, Ferk Mafia, and Ferk Paradise, and Ferk Heaven. Ferk Gang, guys, welcome, welcome. We got Ichthus5 saying Ferk Gang 2020 live. Dio Brando saying Ferk Gang. Lego Studio says hi. Let's see. Vincenzo C says, as I wait, I'm eating hummus, which is the most progressive thing I do. And LP.
Vinny C. Yeah, Vincenzo C. He's a guy known in off and on from the YouTube comic book community for fucking years, man. So it's great to see Vinny C.
No, that's awesome. And then if I go in and out, it's because I'm asking my brother to make sure my baby's sleeping. And if I have to run out, it's either A, he's dying, B, my baby's crying, or C, I have to poop real bad because I had Taco Bell today. We
Damn.
have we have Shinobi Raccoon in the house saying, "Hey chat, Shinobi, I've been digging your art lately." Z Artist 27 saying, "Ferk Gang, what's up, man? Ferk Gang." We got Kawhi Ali saying hello there, and then Allison McGlone, how you doing, Allison? Says hello. Shinobi says, back Niobe. That's why we're here tonight. We're here to talk about Niobe. And then we have the art of Willie Reed saying, I love seeing my friends hitting success. And then TRZN saying, interesting, much love, blessings. TRZN, much love and blessings to you as well.
Man, it looks like you got a full house tonight, brother.
I know, it was funny because the last live stream I did had like 4 or 5 people, and I was a little bit disappointed, but I'm really glad that people are here and showing up. And I gotta say, it's probably because of ULP.
No, no. Listen, dude, you've worked so hard. This is like where he pats me on the back, I pat him on the back section of the show. So, like, no, this dude has worked so hard in building this YouTube channel, and and you kind of put your slice of life out there, Tyler, right? So like, you're bringing people involved into your world a little bit with the baby and juggling work and comics and putting the questions out there. What should I do? Should I do a printed comic? Should I do a webtoon? Patreon, question mark. Man, you gotten people invested, not just in Demons or whatever book you happen to be working on, but in you yourself, and you put out good advice too, right? When you do the tutorial vids or the 3 tips or the 5 tips, sorts of videos, those are good, and I like watching those.
Hey, thanks, dude. Yeah, I try to be real because all I see is a lot of people just posting about their success. But actually, a popular video that I have is my last video where I talked about my failure, how my last campaign I was kind of disappointed in. And I think a lot of people gravitated towards the like, oh yeah, like he's talking about why he thinks he failed. So yeah, we had Vincenzo Cease's good song lyrics. I'm dying, my baby's crying, and I gotta poop. Jay Espin in the house, a super amazing artist. TRZN says Tarzan Killed is the name that thanks. Oh, it's Tarzan. Tarzan the Skilled is the name. Thanks in your time. Not been watching you for a while. You're generous. Absolute dad of 5 wanting to drop a comic one day. Hey, Tarzan the Skilled. One day you can drop a comic. And I mean, Larry, how amazing is it to hold your comic book with your hands?
Dude, the first time, well, I mean, it's cool every time, but I remember the first time, the very first comic, right? And going to the printer and picking up that box, and getting it home and taking a knife and slicing it open, and you open the, the 2 flaps, and there it is, whoa, right? Like, the music's going off, and you have that surreal feeling, and then you reach down in the box and you hold this book, you know, and we've held a lot of comic books. If you're a comic book fan, you've held a lot of comic books, but it's a different experience, man. When you're holding your own book and you go, fuck, you know what? I made this, man. Or at least I had a part in making this. And like,
And
this
you
is
like,
mine.
I remember my very first comic that I had like nicely printed. It's a piece of crap, but I just remember being like, this is so amazing. And then I remember I did a book with someone. I drew 3 issues. The art in it is just absolute horrendous. Bobby Altman, I will forever say sorry to you for he paid me, he hired me to be the artist. I told him I'd do it for free. He understood that my art was not where he wanted to where I wanted it to be, but I drew this book for him. It was absolutely, my art was terrible, his story was fun, but we printed it anyways into a trade paperback. And I actually have it right here. We printed it into a trade paperback. I should have stopped at 3 issues. This is 3 issues. And what happened was I saw the book, I got it, and I was like, oh my gosh, Bobby, this is amazing. We have to do 7 more issues. Because I want a bigger book. And so I did 7 more issues, and then I never finished it. And we kind of had the agreement like, yeah, Tyler, your art's terrible. You know, we gotta move on. But there's something so special about holding that book for the first time. So Tarzan the Skilled, when you do ever get that experience, you know, just always remember it.
Well, I think we can sum it up in one word: accomplishment.
Oh yeah,
right? That's what you feel when you hold that book. You know, it's like this big surge of accomplishment that just runs through your body. You know,
it's just like, it's so much, it's like all that time and energy and love and passion, and this is it. That's the reward you get, is holding your book.
And then the reward that comes after that is seeing the reward of other people holding your book.
Yes, people holding your book is absolute, like, the best. That's why whenever I go to a convention and whenever I'm doing like a store signing or anything, anytime someone buys my product, I always take a picture of them holding it.
Oh man, I got so many of those.
I know, and it feels just so good. And you can brag about it later on the internet. You can be like, "Hey, look at all the people that bought my stuff."
It's like good advertising too. I mean, like, you know, you post these pictures on your social media, and other people see these people who are getting your book and enjoying the experience. You know, and it kind of is like, oh man, I think I want that. You know?
Yeah, exactly. They go, I want to join. I want to.
That's right. I want to be part of the fun. That's right.
Exactly. So, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smash that like button, and also, if you feel like you want to share out the stream right now as Larry and I talk, you know, feel free to throw it up on your Twitter, your Facebook, and let's get some more people here. Now, we're here because 1, LP is a good friend of mine, but 2, Niobe Birthright Part 1 and Part 1 of 2 is currently on Kickstarter, and it funded in 3 days. It funded in 3 days.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. You know, all my Kickstarters, I usually start with like pretty low end stuff, right? You know, and I still consider this to be, you know, pretty, you know, on the ground floor running. You know what I mean, Tyler? Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, we've done always very modest goals, like $2,000 or $2,400, you know, but I dumped so much money into this particular project because we went full color, got a new artist, you know, got a couple of variant artists, and that all, you know, comes with a price tag, right? And so I said, no matter what, and your prices looks different than mine because mine is in Canadian dollars, but I said, we need $3,800 bare minimum, you know, to justify this at all. And like, you know, that's what I thought I would have probably towards the end of the campaign. Like all my Kickstarters usually have a small burst right at the start, you know, first few days, right? Then they teeter right out. And then the last week, some people start jumping on again, right? And then by that last week, you usually end up funding and maybe you get a few dollars over. This is the first time I ever funded a campaign in the 7 campaigns that I've ran in 3 days, dude. And asking more than I've ever asked for before. You know what I mean?
Well, that it just goes to show like the quality of the product. We got Demonstrous Phil saying, "What's up, y'all? Happy to have backed this project and looking forward to it." And also, I got the notification that you subscribed, so thank you so much, Demonstrous Phil. Yeah, like this is such a quality book. I mean, you have superstar talent on this book. It looks absolutely amazing, and there's a reason why it looks, it's doing so well, and it's going to continue to do so well. Can I say though, I talked with my wife about wanting this metal print, and it was such a like discussion because like we've been like really budgeting our money, and she's like, Tyler, that is gonna go into our fund money, that for the whole month. I'm like, yeah, but look at it, it's awesome. And she was like, yeah, well, it's not awesome to me. And I'm like, but you don't get it. It's super awesome to me. This is such a sexy cover.
Paul Green of Zenoscope fame, and recently Lady Death as well,
Wow.
Ula Moss, who's like colored for J. Scott Campbell and other big names, colored that piece. And that's why it looks so great. I mean, those are two bucket list people in the industry that I, had a chance to work with, and can't believe they even said yes to, being a part of the project.
What I love also about this campaign, I've done a ton of videos and I talk a lot about like the importance of leveling up, and if you want like greater reward, you're gonna have to take greater risk, which means you're gonna have to work harder. This is the first time you're working with a new artist, and this is the first Niobe book in color.
Yeah, that was scary. Not scary, in the like, all right, just gonna be scary to look at. I mean, scary as in like, how are we gonna budget this? The reason why we've always done black and white for all of our previous comics is simply money wise, right? I work part time, so spending money right and budgeting for a comic book isn't easy. It costs at least $2 to $3 grand to put one of these things together, and that's even if you're going black and white. And so so that was the reason why we never went color. It was just money. We have to pay for the color, and then it's like an extra cost to print the books in full color. So black and white was just an easy way to go starting out. And if money is an issue to you creators out there who are thinking about doing this, don't be afraid to go black and white, for your first couple of comics and see how it goes and start to build from there. That's what I did, Tyler, right? You talked about leveling up. So we had to level up very small and still baby steps, brother.
But but that's such like an awesome journey, because I met you when you were doing Niobe, and it was all in black and white. Your artist's name was Steven, right?
Steve Boyu, and like these, and then it's kind of like with this. This was my first like comic with someone, and now you have to start somewhere. This is such a huge level up, Larry, and it looks so. I mean, I am privileged enough to have Larry send me some of the pages while after they're done. I've seen Tyler
more pages.
You may have even seen the whole book. I don't know if I sent you the very last page. I could have, because that's me. I like my cliffhanger endings. I want to make you want more, right? It's like watching like a good episode of Game of Thrones or something. When it's over, you're gonna be like, damn shit, give me the next one now.
Yeah, these colors are so good.
So man,
who's the colorist on it?
Dan Olvera, and he's another. What I consider to be professional in the industry, in the sense that he's worked for Zenoscope Comics doing Grim Fairy Tales, and he's been with Action Lab Comics. So he's worked on comic books like Zombie Tramp, Vamp Blade, and Puppet Master.
Oh, there you go. It looks this colors right here on this first page that have like the motorcycles. It's so good.
Dude, what we'll do here, just give me a minute. I'll get my shit together here. We'll bring up the pages on a screen share.
Dude, are you sure you don't want to give away too much?
No. Well, I mean, I'll show those pages. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. I've got some questions though for you that people are asking in the chat.
All right.
So the first one is we're gonna go the art of read. Any advice on how to promote it? So if I'm understanding your question, art of read, is when you have a comic, what is the best way for you to promote it so that maybe you can one day fund in 3 days like LP?
Well, I don't know if that's because of the promotion. There's several factors of why that funded in 3 days. One is because I had some known names in the industry on the books. They brought in their own fan following. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So people who really like Paul Green are going to come over to buy Niobe because that's a Paul Green piece.
It's a collectible at that point.
It's a collectible at that point. But hopefully, they'll read the book and they like what's inside, right? It's like me when I go to the comic shop and I buy Black Cat because J. Scott Campbell's doing the covers. I don't necessarily read Black Cat, but I like the cover, right?
Gotcha.
So there's that certain, market to it. Steph Wilson is also a person who's doing variant cover on this book, and Steph Wilson's been on fire. Like Steph Wilson has a very Dan Mendoza zombie tramp like style,
Mm-hmm.
and he's getting picked up everywhere. He's working with Tom Hutchinson for Big Dog Inc. now. He's on another book called Fire Bitch, which is like a cosplayer turned comic book on Kickstarter. He's part of Naughty Fairies, the online comic book convention book on Niobe. He started doing covers in May of 2019, has done over 25 covers for various indies and Kickstarters and stuff.
Wow. This is who you're talking about, right?
Yeah, right there. Yeah, like I said.
I sat next to Dan Mendoza at a con.
What was he like, man?
Well, it was like the second. I was actually with Brad Ashworth, Pencil for Life, and I had never seen his art before, and it just like it showed me like as an indie creator the power of your brand, meaning people would come up to him. You're at a comic convention, you're trying to make money, and people would come up to him and they'd be like, I want you to draw, let's go Rick and Morty. I want you to draw Rick and Morty. He goes, okay, for Rick it'll be $250, and they're like, oh, I want Rick and Morty as well. He goes, it's gonna be another 200, and they go, okay, and then there's me over here like, I'll draw Rick and Morty for you for like $20.
Yeah, right.
Like I'll do that, and he just had I remember Brad and I were kind of angry one day because his line got so big that it was covering our table.
Yeah,
and I was just like, who is this guy?
Yeah,
and he is just killing it. I remember the last day of the con, I actually moved away from that table. There was an empty table across, and I took it over, and that's when I started picking up sales because I was away from him.
Yeah.
But it's just the power of having a brand, and you have a brand, Larry, and you've been building up your brand.
It's starting to look that way now. This is the 5th installment of Niobe, and then there was like that spin-off comic of Vani, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is like a soft reboot. Like people are confused. I just want to clear this all up. Some people think this is Niobe number 5, right? Some people think this is Niobe number 2 because they only know it from Indiegogo, right? Because I did that second printing. It's neither of those things. It's Nyobi Birthright number 1, which is a 2-part miniseries. It's its own standalone story, and that's how I'm going to be doing Niobe comics going forward. They're just going to be miniseries.
I love that model, by the way. I don't know if you saw my last video. I actually mentioned you in it, where I was saying I don't know anything about Brian Pulido, but how he has all of his lady deaths are number 1.
Yeah.
So it's like each one is a jumping on experience because.
But they all do connect, though. They connect.
But like, is it like forced connect? Like if I missed out on something, it's going to ruin the experience for my.
I don't think so. But there are, things happen in those books that, go from one book to the other.
Okay. Because I was thinking, maybe Demons Volume 3 didn't do well because people were like, gosh, I have to catch up on 1 and 2. It's like, it's way over my head. But I like like Birthright 1 and 2 done. And then I can do Niobe something else 1 and 2 done.
Yeah, and it might not even be 1 or 2. I might do a 3-part miniseries or a 4-part miniseries. It just depends on how long the story's going to be and if I think I can pull it off. I think a 2-part miniseries is a fairly safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does well, and it seems like it is, then maybe next time I'll go for a 3-part miniseries. Make the story a little longer, right?
Gotcha. Vincenzo C says, when you reach the goal, does it mean the Kickstarter is over, or can people still buy in?
Oh no, you got 25 more days to buy in, brother. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it means we're funded, which means we'll get our money. But yeah, the opportunity to raise more money is certainly there. Like right now, I'm looking at it. It's at 108 backers. It made $4,047 Canadian, but we still have 25 days left to go to make that even higher. And if we make it higher, then there's these things that we unlock called stretch goals, right? And the first stretch goal will be unlocked at 4,500.
So everyone, if you're thinking, if you're new to Kickstarter, not understanding it, it's got 25 days to go. Larry has got 25 days to just keep pumping and churning out backers. And do you plan on doing Indiegogo after this?
Yeah, I think so.
That's awesome. So, I'd love to know. I'd love to ask you this. What was your thoughts about? I know you've always done Kickstarter. Why did you not start with Indiegogo though? I think that's like there's a current kind of craze on it, or maybe there's not.
Well, I mean, you have to go back in time to like 2014. I don't even know if Indiegogo was a thing in 2014, and if it was, it certainly wasn't for comic books. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, when I plotted Niobe #1, this was in 2014, long before, the CG movement or Indiegogo being as a platform for comics, the place that you crowdfund it. And, to my point, pretty much still is Kickstarter. So the reason why I didn't start with Indiegogo was I wasn't even aware of Indiegogo in 2014, didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was on Kickstarter. And so I did Kickstarter and it was successful. Boom, cool. The year after, Niobe #2 did a Kickstarter. Boom, successful. 3 and 4, the same thing. Boom, boom. I wasn't even aware of Indiegogo until pretty much I was working on Avani. And
Yeah, I had never heard of Indiegogo as well until,
So, people are like, well, why aren't you on Indiegogo now? Well, Kickstarter's been my home, and that's where I made my as Tyler would call it, my brand, or my small fan base that I have. It came from there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where people are used to seeing and finding Niobe. But I see nothing wrong with running an Indiegogo afterwards, and we'll do like we did with Niobe #1. We'll do a special Indiegogo cover that you can only get if you back it on Indiegogo.
Gotcha. Oh, that's exciting. Got Brad Ashworth in the house saying, Pencil for Life saying, good job, Larry.
Thanks,
Pencil for
Brad.
Life, good
I hope
job.
everything's well with Brad. I haven't talked to Brad in a long time. Brad, you need to drop in the off air sometime and say hello to everyone, brother.
Yeah, I was talking with Brad today. I said the same thing. I said I haven't seen you in a while because I posted a picture of on my let me grab it. Posted a picture on my Twitter of my kid.
Oh, look
And
at that.
Brad and his wife are the one who bought this for him.
Oh, that's wicked, brother. This is the first
Yeah,
time I
dude.
see a picture of your kid, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. I try not to post a lot about him on social media because people are just
Yeah, no, I get you. It's a weird world nowadays, right?
Yeah, and he's just so pure and awesome. So I try to keep it away, but he was just looking so cute. So I was like, I gotta do it. Here we go. This is Ichthus 5. Ichthus is one of my mods in the Furk gang. He's like one of the leaders of the Furk gang. And Ichthus is a super awesome dude. He says, "How does it feel from black and white comic to full color? Were you nervous to jump into color, to translate and make the pages pop on how you imagined it to me?"
Well, picking the right guy was the most important thing, right? I knew when I picked the artist, I picked him based on how I thought it would look in color. So Samir Sameo, he's a guy from Brazil that does the internal line work, and black, his style, black and white, doesn't necessarily look, all that eye popping. The minute you add the right color to it, it's awesome. And so I went ahead and on Facebook, I put out an alert. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a colorist to color Niobe. If you want to be a part of this project, send me, your name, your samples, and your rate, right? That's all I want. Your name, your samples, and your rate, and a link to where I can, see your shit. And I'll start looking for a colorist. And I went ahead and did that. And, Tyler, in 24 hours, I had like fucking 50 people hit me up for that job. You know what I mean?
Believe it. I believe it.
Dude, it was crazy, man. Like I was like, my inbox was like blowing up, and then you have like those filtered messages that you don't see. Well, those were blowing up, right? And so I had to go through like 50 different submissions, and then it came down to 2 guys that I thought would really work with Samir's art style, and that was Russ Cassidy and Dan Olvera. And turns out that they actually both know each other, and Dan has been tutoring Russ for a little while now.
Oh, wow.
And so I liked them both so much. I showed my artists. I said, here's my top 2 guys. Who do you think would work best with your style? He went with Dan, who is, he has obviously a lot more experience than Russ. And so we went with Dan for that. And then, but Russ colored. We still gave Russ a job, because we liked him so much that he colored cover A. So he did cover A as far as just the colors go.
gosh, my mouse is going the wrong way. Right here.
Yeah, right there. So that's Samir's cover, and we had Russ cover that, and then Dan did all the interior coloring. Here's the thing, man. Internal artists for these days for Marvel and stuff, rarely do you see them also doing the covers. I mentioned like buying Black Cat, with J. Scott Campbell and someone completely else doing the art inside. Well, back in the day, in this turbulent time, like known as like the 80s, I remember like whoever drew the book was doing the covers, and I thought it very important that Samir have his own cover.
Oh well, I'm kind of the same way. See, like I typically don't buy variant covers because I'm someone who likes to see the cover art the same as the comic.
What's inside? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I've as I've grown, I'm still a very new comic book fan. But as I've grown to understand like the community and whatnot, I have been like, as I start learning about new artists, I go, oh, that's a Todd McFarlane cover. I like that one, so I'll pay a little extra for that one, if I have to. So yeah, I understand variant covers, but I think it's awesome that you did a cover with the artist who's doing the interiors, because I've seen a lot of indie comics where they have like a baller DC Marvel artist do the cover, and then I open up inside and I go, oh my gosh, what is this nonsense?
Right. So I want people, to understand that this is what's on the cover and that's what's on the inside. But we have these variants if that's your thing, that was important to me because Samir put so much work into this, bro, that he deserves a cover, and I think it'd be sacrilege not to give him one,
For sure. Also, my bad. I have not been putting the links in the chat for your book. We've just been talking about it. LP put the link in the chat. I just put the link in the chat for the book. Everyone go please check out Niobe on Kickstarter. I got a couple more questions for you from the chat, man.
Yeah.
We got I forgot it. We're just gonna call you Tarzan, dude. Tarzan, how much does it change when you want to be the artist, writer, marketing manager? Do you think it would be easier just to get an artist?
All right, run that question by me again. Let me see here. How much does it change? Well, I mean,
huge.
Well, I don't do art, so I mean, I have no choice but to get an artist, right?
So if you're Tarzan, if you're gonna be the artist, writer, and marketing manager, you better be able to draw. And Larry's like, I'm not drawing Niobe.
God, and it's not that I haven't drawn Niobe. I draw Niobe for like concept designs. Like, here's an outfit I think she might look cool in. You know what I mean? Just to give an artist an idea of what I want. I can draw well enough to pull that off, and that's about it. You know what I mean?
To say to the artist, hey, you got to make this make it look like this, but better.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how Niobe started. Was me drawing her from playing her in RPG games. And it turned into a comic book. Who knew?
That's awesome. I've done both, Tarzan, where I've been the writer, and like for example, Demons, I hired Travis Martinez to be the artist, and then I just colored over his stuff. That's actually Luke Cooper's art, but I colored over his stuff, and the experience was awesome to work with an artist because I could just write the script, and then after that I let the artist go and I could move on with other things. Lately though, my art is now, I'm now comfortable enough to be the artist on my own books, and it is so time consuming to write it and then draw it and also be a marketing manager. But at the same time, it means I don't have to pay another artist. I can keep all the revenue.
Well, that's the trade-off, but right? It's time. It's time versus money.
It really is. Because if I wanted to do another comic book and have it done a lot faster, I'd probably just hire another artist.
Yeah, and especially if you had the capital to do it. I mean, it takes a lot. Drawing the internal pages is the longest part of the comic book process. I can write a comic book in a week. You know what I mean? Maybe in a few days, but I couldn't certainly draw one in a few days. So that's the longest part, and that's why Samir gets his own cover, because he, quite honestly, did most of the work. You know what I mean? Like,
with Wes Nadell and I's with our book Undead Row, it took me a year to finish that book. Granted, the book was 130 pages, but it took a year of like my life
Yeah.
of every night drawing.
Yeah, some people don't understand how long this actually takes. I mean, I've talked to, a couple of different artists that work for Marvel, and, they're like always crunched by deadlines and like drawing like 14-hour days, and, because that's
Oh
their
yeah.
full-time gig, and then add on top of that commissions and sketches and conventions,
Oh yeah, I remember Greg Capullo was supposed to go to some Hawaiian convention, and he posted on Twitter. He goes like, like 4 days behind on my deadline, so I have to miss out on this convention because I've got to get the book done. It's nuts. We got tons of questions on here. I love this chat. And if I missed your question, I will get to it.
I'll answer. Ask me anything. What's it, an AMA?
Yeah. Art of Read says, how many pages are in these books? So how long is Niobe Birthright?
All right, so it's 24 pages. It's it's a small book, right? And it's your average size floppy. There's some pinups in the back, but yeah, I think part 2 will be a little longer, but part 1 was done, in slightly smaller because of budget, right? Because we did hire brand new artists, and we did hire a colorist, and other people to pitch in on this project with the variant cover art. Like to get Paul Green and Ula Moss, it certainly wasn't cheap. So yeah, budget wise, it ended up being 24 pages in total. It's 18 pages of story, 6 pinups, and but the second one will be a bit longer because I have a feeling we'll have the money to play with to be able to do that.
Yeah, when you're gonna make a comic book, I always talk with people I want to work with. I talk with a lot of writers who say, "Hey, I want you to draw my book," and I'm like, "Yeah, let's talk." And they never have the page count for some reason, and I go, how long is your book? And they go, "Oh, I'm thinking like 100 pages." I'm like, "Do you realize how long 100 pages
It's gonna take.
is going to take, and also do you understand the cost of that?" So far, the only person who's understood that is Wes Nadell. This is our book, like 130 pages right there. He was like, "Yeah," I was like, "This is going to take you maybe a year," and he was like, "That's totally fine," but it's intense, and all my books have been over 100 pages, and I kind of regret it. I'm going to do what you're doing, Larry, and go to 24 to 36 page books, maybe top 60.
Yeah,
it's just time consuming.
Well, it takes like at least a day to draw a page, right? For most people. And that's assuming that you got nothing else to do with your time. You got no wife, no kid, no job, you don't have any errands to do, no appointments to get to, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, of course it's going to take you a year to draw 100 and some odd pages. That's assuming you get a page done on average every 2 or 3 days. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It takes a long time to fucking draw a comic book, That's why, like I said, this one's a little shorter than 100 a page. But let's put it this way: you can divide it up and run separate campaigns for them too. So
that's true.
I mean, this could have been like a 48-page story, but it would have taken longer to get done, and we still be waiting to launch. You know what I mean? Divide this into 2. You get your story now, and that gives us money to play with to finish it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I was looking at someone was asking me, Tyler, are you gonna back this Kickstarter, this Indiegogo? And I was like, no, because I'm still waiting on some of my books. I'm still waiting for a lot of books.
Oh, you want to go there? So I backed 3 Indiegogos. I haven't received one of them yet, and that stopped me, quite honestly, from backing too many books on that particular platform. Mm-hmm. That's not to say you can't get burned on Kickstarter, because you can. I've been burned twice, but I've also backed 58 projects on it, which meant I received 56 of them. And one of the ones I got burnt on, I got a refund, and the other one is just like a ghost. You know what I mean?
Oh, shame. Yeah, it's hard. So I like your idea of, hey, if you're gonna do a 48-page story, why don't you break it up so that I get half the book now and then half the book later, so I don't have to wait as long. Because some of these books I'm waiting on, they're 36 pages, And I'm thinking, why am I waiting a year and a half for this?
Right. And then what happens when you get the book? Are you going to wait now another year and a half?
For
right?
number 2? No.
I mean, this is why Marvel Comics does 24-page comic books, right? And so that every month there's something to sink your teeth into. See, the thing with Niobe Birthright now, Tyler, is that this book is done. I have a PDF I could email you right now, start to finish, that's ready for print.
Oh, for real? You finished?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's finished, right? And that's because it's a little shorter than 48 pages, you know? But it's finished and it's ready to go. So as soon as this campaign wraps up and I know exactly how many I need to print, this goes straight off to the printer, right? And then we're straight back in the work doing part 2. Like, you know, we'll have part 2 out probably, you know, finished or close to finished by summer. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. And I think I wish that's how most comic book people would do it. I know most can't because they rely on that Kickstarter money to, you know, pay the artists and whatnot. But that's awesome. That's awesome, Larry.
Well, I mean, the team I got now, they're so reliable, dude. Like, I have to brag up Dan Olvera and Simur and guys like Russ and Joe Rodriguez from Metal Ninja Studios, you know. Like, these guys are reliable, they're dependable, they're timely, they're quick, they're quality, you know what I mean? And so, like, I finally found the perfect mesh for Niobe as far as, like, just getting things done. Because one of the biggest things in comic books is waiting for things to get done, you know, especially when you're the writer and you're not drawing the book. So, like, you know, you're waiting for pages to get done, and sometimes life happens and pages get delayed, and, you know, you have to, like, be late on your campaign or something. The guys that I worked with were faster than I was, you know what I mean? Like, Samir was giving me pages, and I pay him every time he did a page. I pay him, right? Well, he was just banging out pages, dude.
That's awesome.
I had to slow him down a little bit, you know what I mean, right?
Like, so, chillax, man. I gotta get the money right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I had the money, but, you know, like, I just wanted to pace it, you know. And then, you know, once he was wrapped up, then I started Dan on the colors, and I did the same deal with him. Every page he did, boom, here's some money, boom, some money. So that gave these guys, you know, an incentive to get the job done. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Because
every time a page drops, money would drop, you know?
Alice McGlone says I spend a minimum of 8 hours per page. Yeah, that's intense.
I believe it.
Yeah, so it depends on the page, but yeah, like, I got a full-time job. I got a kid. There's no way I'm able to do that. Art of Reed says, I never thought of adding pinup pages. Is there room for fan art as well? Do you ever put fan art in your books? I know you have.
Yeah, I have.
I'm in one of your books.
You've been in one. That's right. Man, does that make you feel old to think, like, God, that feels like forever, wasn't it?
It was like 3 or 4 years ago.
So what Tyler was in was Niobe number 3, which is basically the swimsuit edition. It had like story, but in the middle it had pinups. It was like Niobe doing a photo shoot, and we used the pinups as the photo shoot. And then in the back of the back cover, I believe, I did like a fan art contest, right? Hey, you want, you know, your fan art in the book, submit it, and we'll pick like the 4 or 5 best ones, and we'll put them in the book. And of course, Tyler was one of them.
I remember when I got into the comic book community, I was like, this Larry guy, he knows what's up.
I don't know about that.
I kept seeing it around. I was like, gosh, this guy is awesome. He's got a YouTube show. I told my girlfriend at the time, I was like, hey, I can't hang out with you tonight. I'm going on Rebel Comics Live.
There you go.
With it was you and gosh dang it, Wonk.
Like what?
Like what? Oh man. Got a couple more questions. Got Ichthus saying, how was Niobe created, or what was Niobe inspired by or created? Like, why'd you create her?
All right. Well, I'll make a very long answer short, because Tyler knows the story, but some of you may not. Okay. But basically, I used to play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons as a teenager, and there was a superhero version of that game called Heroes Unlimited. So I made my superhero, and it was Niobe, and she was a Japanese pop star who could teleport. And she was inspired by a combination of 90s anime, like late 80s, 90s anime with girls with pigtails jumping around and kicking ass, with a mix of X-Men. So, like, you know, a bit of magic, a bit of Dazzler, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Kind of all mashed into one. And that's how she was created.
No, that's awesome. Dude, look at these colors. Everyone, look at these colors. Look at this page.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Look at the beauty that is this page. Go up to those first two panels. Gosh, the detail in this.
And you can see like my homage to 90s anime or 80s anime, I guess I should say, because that's
Got
when
the
Akira
Akira.
yeah. And I even got a page where she does the Akira slide.
Shut up, really?
Yeah.
That's so dope. Tarzan's asking, and you don't have to give him a direct answer, but maybe we can give him like a from this to this. But can you say how much you are spending on a page? Sorry, don't mean to state. Just curious. Maybe just give like like what's a range do you think of? I
All
mean,
right.
I've seen people pay, like charge anywhere from $10 to like $100.
What are we talking about, for the colors or for the art?
Let's just go in for everything.
All right. Well, I mean, everything is negotiable. Everything
Absolutely.
is, and every artist and every colorist has their own rates. You can find people who have absolutely no experience that are willing to sell their services very cheap just to get on the board. Or you can go pro, who are so in high in demand that they're asking top dollar for their talent, right? And everywhere else in between. I'm not going to tell people what I pay, because that's in bad form, right? You
For
never
sure.
really give out the artist rate, because that artist may negotiate a different rate with a different person. So, you don't want to set anyone's expectations and have that be wrong. You just don't do that. But
Absolutely.
I can tell you, it's very competitive, and people want work. They want paying work, though. I mean, you got to be able to pay your artists if you want, actually want to take this seriously, right? And pages can go anywhere I've seen, and and I'm talking very low end stuff here. $30 a page, all the way up to $300 a page, if not more, depending on who it is.
Oh
And
yeah.
when I say $300 per page, you're talking people who are top pro here, right?
Oh yeah.
But usually, like for decent artists, you're looking at anywhere from, like, maybe an average of $100 a page. I don't know, Tyler. Like you probably know actually more about that than I do. I just kind of shop around, and the style fits the price. Then
Yeah. I when people ask me what my rates are, I actually send them a sheet of 4 different rates I have, and you can choose what you want. Kind of like a menu.
right.
Um and so it goes anywhere from, and I try to do as much as possible, just like me. So when I try to do like the pencils and the inks and the colors and the letters, I try to do all of it. But if you don't want me to do all of it, I have tier levels on how much each price is, and I'm willing to negotiate. I always ask, what's your budget, which is why I won't say what my rates are, because then someone in the chat might be like, "Hey, you charged me this,"
Right.
and I'm be like, "Uh oh." Got a couple questions. Dio Brando, Ferk Gang says, "What is your process for coming up with story ideas, Larry?"
All right. So anything can inspire me, right? And this is why I would tell writers, kind of have like a notepad on your computer that you use for random notes, or even if you're just walking around with a little fucking book, because anything that you see or hear could trigger an idea. I'll use Todd McFarlane's example of he was sitting in a parking lot and he was trying to think of a name for his evil bad guy in Spawn, and he saw a sign that said "Violators will be prosecuted," and he's like, "Violator, oh cool, good name, right? Good idea, cool, write it down." You know what I mean? So a lot of ideas come from that way. I could watch a cool movie and get inspired. Say like I'm watching Judge Dredd, 2012, right? The best Judge Dredd movie ever made, and I get inspired. Now I want to do a fucking cyberpunk story. You know what I mean? And then I start coming up with some ideas, or I read a cool comic book and I get inspired that way, or I see something on the news, and I'm like, if I change this and that about the story, I can make this a superhero thing. You know what I mean? Or like, you can look at the tabloids, and pick out a weird story from there and go, that could be a cool comic book.
Oh yeah. The thing is, this artist Jake Parker, he said he calls it his creative bank account, meaning whenever he does an idea, he's taking out of his creative bank account. And whenever he runs out of ideas, it means that he needs to put some more money back into his creative bank account, which means, okay, I need to play a video game, I need to watch a movie, I need to go outside and walk around and see what's going on.
Yeah, you need
And
to get
then-
inspired somehow.
Exactly. Real quick, guys, before people got questions for you, Larry.
Yeah,
Is
let 'em
I had
know, bro.
I saw someone say, "Where is there a community where people can get like critiques and whatnot?" We have a Discord channel for Draw and Talk. I'm putting the link in the chat. It's totally free to join. It's a free app. It goes to your browser, but you can join there for free. We have an awesome art community and writing community where you can post your stuff and get feedback. Everyone there is super nice. It's for the Furk Gang and Draw and Talk community, and also as well. I'm putting in the link for Niobe again. Let me put that. Let me share that my screen. There's some Niobe, and then I put that link in there as well as here's a free comic, guys. I'm putting a free comic in the chat as well. It's the MailChimp. You put your email in there, you get a free comic.
Tell me a little bit about that, dude. Free comic? What?
Yeah, let's see. Let me show everyone how it works. So we got there. This is it. I'll put in an email address. I'm gonna use
download entity #1 for free,
and you can see the people who have bought it. I did a limited of like 40 of these, and they all sold at a con, and then I never did them ever again.
Now, was this the book you did on the 24-hour challenge?
No, this is something.
Okay.
I did this like 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
And it's a 100-page graphic novel, and I did a printed run of 40. I went to a con and I went to 2 cons. They all sold, and then I just like totally forgot about them. So now I'm doing it. So right here, you put your email address in, you hit the download link, and it takes you here to Entity.
There you go. Look at
that. Artist is Joe Wong, and yeah, I'll be talking more about this story in future videos. But it's about this girl named Camille. She's been on this spaceship for 3 years. Has had her memory completely wiped. And Earth has been completely destroyed. There's only there's no one knows where all the humans are. And then she comes into contact with this guy named Aaron Stryker, who is just like, everything that you've been told for the last 3 years is a complete lie. And she's saying, who's been lying to me all these years, who's been grooming me, and it's the Entity. And so throughout the 5 issues, they're trying to figure out who the Entity is.
Wow. I didn't know this existed, brother, until just now.
No one, you know what? No one did. no one did. I totally forgot about it, and I was like, oh, I had this. I was going through pictures on my phone, and I saw, oh wait, I see these people. They're holding this book. I have this. Where is it? And I didn't keep a copy for myself. I sold the last copy, and I was like, crap, I should probably bring this back. So you can read the first issue for free. If you want to read all of it, I'm putting it on Patreon at the end of the month. This is my Patreon. You can back it for $1 or $5 or $15, and then they'll all get the five issues digitally for free. And if you're not interested in that, we'll be doing a Kickstarter for this later in the year.
There you go.
Got some more questions for you, Larry. People just want to know.
What do they want to know, Tyler? What do they want to know?
Art of Reed says, how closely do you work with the artist to get your vision across the way you want it shown? Larry, I've heard, Larry, that you like really talk with the artist. Like you meet up with them in hangouts like this, and you go over things with
if
them.
I can. If I can. Yeah, some artists don't do that, right? If I can, I will, because I think you can get the best out of them by having a conversation with them before they start something, as opposed to kind of giving them some instructions on Facebook, But not all artists do that. In fact, the artist that did this most recent Niobe didn't do that.
Did you not do it because did you trust them though enough that you didn't need to do it?
Well, yeah, because they had done several comic books before, right?
Gotcha.
And I got a chance to check them out on their DeviantArt and stuff, and realized that this guy knew what he was doing. But I did tell him, I said, if we can't communicate via video or call, I said you're gonna have to keep the pencils very light in case there's gonna be changes. You know what I mean? And so that's what he did. He would do a thumbnail, send it to me on Facebook. I would approve the thumbnail or get him to change it. Then he would kind of do like a rough version of the page, and I would either approve it or change it, and then we would go into the final lines.
That's awesome. And do you ever have you ever gone scared working with other artists? Do you ever get that fear of like,
I
am I
don't
about
know.
to get my like ripped off?
Um, no, because I do my research. You know what I
See,
mean?
you're smart because I had a lot of people say, "Hey, Tyler, there's a couple like missing elements of demons. Where's that story?" And I've told the story a bunch on the show, but like I was like, "Yeah, I paid 5 artists. I paid. I realized that I had some missing threads of the story. I paid 5 artists to complete those stories, to complete those threads, and each one of those 5 artists took my money and ran.
Yeah, those 5 artists wouldn't want to have done that to me.
You would have gone after them, I'm
Uh,
sure."
they would be on blast, and that's the other thing about dealing with people these days, as opposed to say trying to do this 15 years ago, is that if someone wants to be in the industry and they want work, and they agree to do said work, and then they don't provide said work and run off. We're in a time now, where people are calling each other out left, right, and crazy on social media. You don't want to be the guy that gets called out for, like leaving someone high and dry after you promised to do a gig and took their money.
Oh yeah.
That's
Here's the
not a
thing,
good
man.
reputation you want. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen any of those 5 people though on Facebook. I've been waiting.
Yeah, like if you get burned, or that you burn someone, consider that bridge gone. You know what I mean? It's like if you do it on Kickstarter and like say say you're gonna put out a book and you never put out your book and you run away with the Kickstarter money, leaving everyone high and dry.
Ooh.
That's your last Kickstarter, my friend. Ain't no one coming back. And Kickstarter
Yeah.
probably wouldn't even have you. So.
Dude, I know a guy and his Kickstarter hit $1 million, and I went through the comment section of it. It is horrendous because he is struggling to fulfill to
Yep.
all of the people. And there's thousands of comments. Where's my book? Where's my book? Where's my book? And I'm just like, oh, dude, you better get this sorted. Because he's planning on doing another one, and he was like, Tyler, you gonna help me with my new one? I'm like, no, dude, you got to sort out your first one first.
Right?
You better get those 1,000 people their books, otherwise you're screwed. Z Artist 27 says, how would you go about finding an artist and colorist for your comic books?
So again, there's a variety of different ways. For me, it was Facebook. You just start joining some Facebook groups that connect comic book artists and writers together, and you start looking through people's stuff. You can put a posting up there. Hey, I need an artist, or I need someone to color my book, or you just kind of meet people, kind of like the way me and Tyler meet. Whether it be YouTube or social media, and you just start talking with people. Again, we're in a day and age now where I can do a video call with 10 different other creators and hang out. You know what I mean? And you meet people through that. But I found Simur here. Through a guy named Kevin Perron, who does a book called Galaxial. And
It's not Galaxial anymore, actually.
No.
It's called Freaks now, I think.
Okay, but you know who I mean.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of like
Kevin Parent wrote a telly.
Yeah, I don't know how to say his last name, so I just call him Kevin Parent. You know what I mean? But he hooked me up with this artist here. Kevin was representing some people, I guess, and I contacted Kevin. I'm like, can you help me find an artist then, and throw me some names? And he said, well, how about this guy? And I went and checked him. I'm like, yeah, actually, the rate is right. He's got enough experience, and he wanted to work. And so I said, have him read over the script. If he likes the script and it's something he wants to do, then we're in business. So he took a look at the script and he's like, yeah, I'm in. And so boom. And then
That's what we like. That's what we like to hear.
And then Kevin got a small fee for his services.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's really like something I need to do better this year, which it's even harder now that I have a baby. But my friend and I were talking, and he was like, Tyler, networking equals net worth. The more people you know, the more people are going to hook you up.
True.
And so, like, having someone like Kevin be like, hey, do you know an artist? And he can hook you up with this. Otherwise, it'd be hard. I had Wes Nadell, his wife, his wife's friend wanted to make a comic book, and she's like, oh, my husband just did a comic book with a guy named Tyler. You should message him. And we talked. It's probably not going to happen. But, but that's networking. It really helps, if someone goes, hey, Tyler, what do you think about this Larry guy? Should I hire him as a writer? I'd be like, absolutely. Larry's freaking awesome.
I don't know if I could write other people's stuff, though, eh?
I would never do it. It's terrible. It's a terrible experience. I've done it before.
I don't think I would want to, unless if it's like Marvel, like if the Marvel gods came down and said, you you can pick a book and a character and do your own thing, then I would say, okay, give me magic for a 4-part miniseries and let me go nuts. But other than that, I don't think I would want to write anyone else's stuff.
I tried doing a couple indie comics for people, and that it just didn't work. The only success I've ever had was in Demons. I have Luke Cooper's Hollow Girl in my book. We agreed to do a crossover for fun, and then I said, hey, can I put your character in my lore? Do you trust me with her? And he liked how I wrote her in our crossover, so he trusted me with the character. That's the only time it's ever gone smooth. Everyone else I've ever done it with, it's just been, I've write it and they go, oh, I wouldn't have done that. I go, you're right, you wouldn't have done it. I'm doing it. I'm writing your character. The Mighty Frog says, is Samir from Brazil?
He is.
The Mighty Frog says, that guy is great. Crypto Comics in the house says, Larry's book is awesome.
Let's give Crypto Comics a shout out. Matt Mers. Oh shit, I just doxed him. Fuck. Everyone knows who he is. His name is.
Everyone knows. Yeah, people know him. People know his name.
Okay. People know his name.
He hasn't hid it from the world.
No, he hasn't. Well, he's got a credit in my book as story consultant, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, Crypto is a guy that actually got one of the few people that got to read the script before any art was done. And, he gave me some ideas and some pointers and, some help technically, right? And he also helped me with the Kickstarter, just kind of putting the Kickstarter together and wording things properly and certain phrases and stuff, right?
That's awesome.
Crypto's very good at editing, you can give Crypto a piece of final work, right? And then Crypto will go through it and he'll work his crypto magic and make it all look even cooler,
That's awesome. Risey Lee's also in the house.
I got to say the line. Risey Lee, no relation to Niobe Lee, Bruce Lee, Jet Lee, Stan Lee, or hell, even the General Lee. But we think on good authority that he might be third cousins with Motley Crue's Tommy Lee.
Oh, wow. You had that down.
Man, we'll have to practice with that one.
So yeah, guys, we have, let's see, we've been going for 56 minutes. So we'll probably end in like 5 to 10 minutes. If you guys have any other questions, please smash them into the comments section. Go check out, by the way, Niobe Birthright Part 1 and 2. I want to go through some of the perks real quick because we haven't gone through the perks. $5, and this is American right now. Oh no, I'm in the Canadian side now. No, I'm in American. Am I in American?
I don't know. No, if you're looking at the perks, that's all in Canadian dollars.
Okay, so for US, for the pledge, we'll just go Canadian dollars. But for the Part 1 digital, you're looking at $5. Such a great price. Such a great price. $10 for a hard copy. Super great price.
Yeah, what's that in US? That's probably gonna be what, $7, $8?
$8.
Yeah,
fantastic. Also, and there's each of the different tiers get you a different cover. I want to showcase my favorite tier, which like I said, dispute with my wife.
Oh, I got something to share, right?
Want
me to tease you?
I'm ready. Hold on, do I need to make you blow up? Here we go.
I don't know. Am I blowing up?
Yeah, you're blowing up.
I'm blowing up, dude. Tyler, you must be talking about this thing.
Oh, the metal print. Look how good that is. That is so dope.
Now, I think these are sold out, dude.
Shut up.
Yeah, I think they're sold out.
Hold on. I'm like, where is it? Paul Green metal print. Sold out. So now my wife and I are gonna have to fight tonight.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
That is awesome. But there's a reason why it sold out. It's quality.
Awesome.
It's freaking awesome.
I'm not surprised that was the first thing to go. Not surprised at all. I underestimated how many I probably need. I could probably have more made, but I'm going to keep it at that. That's what I said the limit is. That's what the limit is.
Because now it's a collector's.
Yep. The only thing better is if I could have Paul sign them, but that's going to be impossible.
Oh my gosh, that would be nuts.
I'm going to keep one for him to sign for me personally because I have to go all the way over to the UK and have him ship it back to me.
Eric Hawkins. No, sorry. The Mighty Frog says, how did you find your audience? Did you just post on Facebook, or what groups did you target?
Started locally, right? So the first Niobe was basically a book here done in Eastern Canada, and meant just for people around the city of Moncton to kind of look at and read, and then we did a Kickstarter anyway, but most of the people that backed it were family and friends and people I knew in the region. And I just did little local cons with the book, right? But when we did Niobe #2, again, we put it out on Kickstarter. And of course, I was posting this all over my Facebook. But with Niobe #2, we had more US backers. More people were seeing it because they would just go to Kickstarter and just look at comics, right? They weren't looking for Niobe in particular, but they would go and browse, in the comics section, see it, and then back it. So Kickstarter in itself is great advertising because people just go there, they'll browse, right? And they see a thumbnail they like of a project, they click on it, boom, they read about it, boom, price looks right to them, they'll probably back it, So Kickstarter alone was like advertising the book every time we put it on there. But then, a couple of years ago, I started utilizing Twitter, right? And then YouTube. I stream almost every day now, and every day I stream, of course, I have to mention Niobe at least 100 million times, right? And so streaming helps. Instagram, I started using Instagram. I did a whole bunch of Instagram posts yesterday, Not that I use Instagram often, but once in a while I will load it up because, this is a world where people check things on their phone now. So,
oh yeah, you gotta. It's like one of those like you need to be everywhere. It's hard to be everywhere. Good luck being everywhere, but do what you can. To be everywhere. Risey Lee saying, I made sure I backed that tier day one. I knew it would go fast.
Yeah. He wanted that metal print bad.
Dude, that's so awesome, guys. 3 days. Larry is
Eric.
3 days.
I like this line. Eric Hawkins says, "What? I didn't know I backed a Canadian book. Well, darn it, too late now."
Oh man, don't worry, dude.
You won't know the difference. Trust me, you won't know the difference.
When you pick it up, it'll be a little sticky and they'll be full of maple syrup and maybe a moose will have.
Well, that's a question I get asked is like, is she in Canada? Is this like, you know what I mean? And the answer is no, she's actually in a fictional city in the US. It's a small little island off the US called Port Hope. And that's where she lives.
That's so dope. That's so dope. All right, Larry, do you have any final words to say to the Draw and Talk fam, the FERC gang?
You want to see a page that no one's seen yet, or most?
Oh yeah, let's. If you feel comfortable doing it,
oh yeah,
we'll take it.
All right. Well, let me. I mean, you've seen them, but
I've seen them all, guys.
Well, chances.
While Larry gets that up, guys, remember I'm gonna put the link in the chat, but you can, if you go to this link. This MailChimp link, put your email address in and you will get entity number 1. It's a 20-page sci-fi comic for free. If you want to read the full issue story, hit me up on patreon.com/drawandtalk. If we get to 25 Patreons, I'm going to be making an exclusive Patreon comic. It's only for Patreons. Those who back at the $5 tier, however, will get it printed and sent to them, and everyone else will just get digital. And also, I'm uploading a video this month where I talked to the pro Marvel writer, and I asked him, how to break into the industry. That's also going to be an exclusive Patreon video. So go check that out. Link is in the descriptions. And then let's grab Larry's... let me get to my StreamYard. All right, guys, here we go. Oh, there's so much detail on this page.
Yeah, this is a double splash page.
Woo!
That shit is about to go down. You know what I mean?
I love it.
And so you see that there's a huge protest going on. The cops are there in full form. People are angry. Channel 6 News, April O'Neil's hanging out down there. You see the Channel 6 News band. And then, boom, the signature Niobe portal is forming. It's starting to open, and she's going to come rocketing out of there on her bike, man.
That's so awesome. Guys, this is such a good book, and it's so exciting, Larry, to like, I've seen the book go from like, black and white to this. And this is such an amazing transformation. The book looks so good. It's a
Dude,
stellar campaign. No, it's no wonder that funded in 3 days. No wonder.
again, still mind blowing, man, and lots of time left, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, either way, I'm happy as long as we're funding and we can get it out there. That's a good thing. We'll never say no to more money. Don't get me wrong, but we're there. It's a weight that's lifted off my back because you know how stressful it is when you're running a campaign and you're wondering if you're even going to get funded or not. Well, I can breathe easy,
Oh yeah.
at least in that regard. But now it's still promoting hard, and it's still, we're not done yet because we have stretch goals to unlock.
So guys, one thing that Z Artist says, this book looks crazy good, 100% copying it. That's awesome, Z. Let me know, Z, when you do it, because I'd love to tell Larry that you backed it, because that's awesome. One thing that Larry reminded me of as well is that you can back now and your money won't be taken until the end of the campaign. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't have $5 right now, I don't have $10, that's fine. Make sure though that you have it in 25 days.
Yeah. That's how Kickstarter works. So unlike Indiegogo will claim your money right away. Kickstarter doesn't.
I blame Indiegogo for me not getting that metal print, because I could have come up with $50 by the end of my 25 days.
Well, here's the thing. The reason why Kickstarter doesn't do that is because Kickstarter doesn't offer flexible funding. So like in Indiegogo, you can go flexible funding. So meaning, like, let's say you want $5,000 for your project, but you only make 3,800. Well, Indiegogo will still give you that 3,800. Kickstarter won't. Kickstarter will say, you said you needed $5,000. You didn't get $5,000. Means we don't have faith in you that you'll finish the project, because you didn't meet your requirement. And so no one gets charged. So no one gets charged to the very end, and only if the project is funded. But, it is one of those things where you kind of have to remind yourself, I need to keep my money in the account for when that time happens.
For sure. Nothing's worse. I remember doing a Kickstarter and having to send those messages like, hey, you need to put your money in. Eric Hawkins says, unlock those stretch goals if you haven't backed yet. Help Larry out. And then Crypto Comics says, give Larry money. He deserves it.
Money, good. Eric Hawkins also said, happy to back. He says, I believe we drew the character months ago on Drawn and Quarter Fan Edition. Yeah, that was a great time, man. Love that show. I still have all the pieces of art, the ones that I could find anyway from Twitter and stuff, saved in a little folder. I love keeping any art that people do of Niobe. And one of these days, Tyler, you gave me the idea. I should do it. Maybe in part 2, I'll do the fan contest idea again.
Oh yeah, I'm sure people would love that. I think Shinobi Raccoon said up in one of the chats at one point, my fan art used to be Larry's avatar.
Yeah. So during that Drawn and Quarter Fan Edition, I think Shinobi Raccoon did he did a little piece with his character and my character, kind of like in a embrace of friendship, and awesome. It was so cute. It was like damn cute. I was just like, man, that's going to be my Twitter profile pic, and that was up there for months.
That's dope. That's dope. So everyone, go make sure to go check out Niobe Birthright Part 1 on Kickstarter. I'm putting the link in the chat. Again, if you don't see that in the chat, it is in the description down below. Also, Larry, where are some other places that people can find you?
Funny you should ask that, Tyler. How about Rebel Comics and Gaming, my YouTube channel?
I know. I'm trying to pull it up right now, but it looks like you're already doing it.
Oh yeah, well just click the little 3 dots across from my name and go to channel and hit the sub button. I am live all the time. I talk comic books, and I do live gaming, and I'll do little news videos in between throughout the week to fill up some space. But yeah, man, I'm actually going to be going live when I'm done with Tyler, to talk about the project a little bit more and to live game. So Rebel Comics and Gaming in about an hour. I'm going to be live. It's cool, Tyler. I'm using Restream now, so that puts me live on Facebook, DLive, Twitch, and YouTube all at the same time.
Do you enjoy that? Do you think it's helping?
Fuck yes, it is. Especially on the Facebook side of things, man. It looks like almost 20% of my backers for this project have come from Facebook.
Wow, I might have to consider then doing that again.
Yeah. And so, even Mandy Summers agrees that Rebel Comics is amazing. Tell us, Mandy.
Rebel Comics is amazing. Like what?
Bam. Endorsement from Mandy Summers. So we're good to go.
Oh man, there you go. All right, everyone.
Sub, Tyler. We just got a sub. Eric Hawkins has just subbed up. That's my Streamlabs going nuts.
That is awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for an awesome show. We had a great turnout. Remember to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Go check me out on patreon.com/drawandtalk. Go get yourself a free indie comic, NCT #1 with that MailChimp link. And then don't forget, Niobe Birthright #1. Do not sleep on this campaign. I'm going to be backing it. Make sure that you back it. This is a stellar campaign, and make sure to go follow Larry on YouTube.
Thanks
All
for
right,
having
guys.
me on, brother, and hopefully we'll get you on my side
Oh,
soon.
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell
Peace
yeah.
out, everyone.